Welcome back to 4th Weekly News. This week we had another naval test but with a new map and some Q&As. On this naval test that happened, same ships, not too much change, but they changed the map. And I found this map incredibly broken. I believe it was the right side always wins. I only got to play like 5 or so games, so I guess it could have been a coincidence. But I'm pretty sure every time the right side wins. I think it's because they're closer to where the PT boats spawn, so they can easily get destroyers in there and wreck everyone's day. Also, the left side destroyers spawn behind a giant mountain, which I wouldn't really expect to affect the game too much, but it seems to affect it a lot. In minor relation to the naval test, there was also a Q&A put out where they covered some naval stuff. Generally, this Q&A did not hold much information, and it was rather short, but there was 3 questions that I really liked. The first one, the naval-related one, was, what about Navy? Any news? And the answer was, we are working hard on the naval part of the game. Basic gameplay is complete. We are already polishing adjustments APM. We are working on research trees and crew skills by adding more content and vessels. As to our new maps, one will be shown in the nearest future, and we plan to make at least one other before the end of the year. So I'm assuming right there they are speaking about the new map that we had to test this weekend, and apparently we're going to get another. I think this leaves us to about 4 destroyer-friendly maps. The next question I thought was interesting was, what's top priority, Italian ground vehicles or French ones? The answer was, I will not answer that now, but there will be an announcement soon. Follow the news. The final question that I was really interested in was, did you think about ASP, active protection systems, as a feature in USSR tanks, specifically the T-55AD? The answer was yes, we thought about it, but cannot tell whether we will implement it or not, because gameplay-wise, this feature does not involve players' actions. However, as a historical technical feature, it is of course very interesting. For those wondering, APS, or Active Protection System, is a system to protect against ATGMs and rocket launchers of sorts. I don't think it can take out tank shells, but maybe if they're going slow enough. Essentially what it does is right before the tank is struck by whatever, it shoots out like an explosion or a grenade or something that blows up the heat shell. I was unaware that they were put on such early tanks as T-55s. And since everybody hates ATGMs, I think they'd be very welcome to the game. But if only Russia has them, I could see that as a major issue. Having one nation have a hard counter to ATGMs, while the others do not. There was another Q&A on a Japanese website interviewing Anton, the CEO of Gaijin Entertainment. The majority of this interview was stuff that you could get from other interviews. Nothing particularly amazing. There was one part where they started asking about naval forces and exactly what we expect to see in there. And of that, there was a section where he talked about their views on battleships and aircraft carriers. Now, Google Translate did a very poor job of translating this, but reading through it basically says that they are not looking into battleships and aircraft carriers for the reasons that battleships are far too big, which I think is a cop-out, and aircraft carriers, if you just control the ship, they're very boring because the planes fly off and do whatever. Now, I personally don't think that aircraft carriers need to come out with the rest of naval forces, because if implemented correctly, they'd be a much different playstyle than the rest of the ships, essentially commanding and sometimes controlling aircraft and also directing on where your ship goes, attempting to avoid enemy fire. And not like in a pseudo RTS set of form like in the World of Warships. I'm talking more of a direct form with slight pseudo RTS vibe to it. The main issue I can see with this is that the current in-game AI is not very smart. Hopefully, eventually Gaijin will change their mind on both of these ships. I think that saying battleships are too big is, as I said, a cop-out. Some battleships are rather small, and when you compare them to certain heavy cruisers, well, things are a bit different. There was another Q&A or something. A Russian streamer dude interviewed a guy by the name of BBVD, but it was all in Russian, and I don't speak Russian, and the YouTube auto translate not only went by too fast to read, but was rather poorly translated. So I have no idea what happened in this Q&A or whatever. I didn't see anywhere on the Reddit if any important information was translated, so I can't really tell you what was in here, but guy in the past has interviewed Gaijin staff, so maybe there's something cool. There's been whispers of French tanks coming soon, but that's purely speculation and nothing really hard to put to it. It's not out of the question. In other rather exciting news, flak shells have been added. Okay, well, one vehicle has a flak shell, the 29K. And the way this flak shell works is rather irritating, and I hope they update it more so. Essentially what you have to do is press the rangefinder button at a range where you want the shell to explode, point in the air and shoot at airplanes, and you have to reset the range. And staring in the sky trying to get the range of the current flying aircraft will just set your range to the furthest your crew can see. I think it would be better if you were able to manually readjust the axis, not just attach it to a range finding. But generally this is a positive, and hopefully it spreads to other vehicles. Also, I believe the Duster, at least during the Cold War or whatever, eventually it got proximity shells, which would help that thing out a lot, and possibly give it a right to be at 6.7 despite being no better than the M19. If you want to grind more French aircraft but didn't spend money on one of the packs, there's a host of new aircraft that you can fly out. Just buy everything at rank 1. To go with that, there was a Devblog on the NC.223.3. I don't understand why they're bothering with Devblogs. The vehicle's in game. We can just look at it in game, but whatever. It's like the F2222, but less awful. Anyways, thanks for watching. That's just about all the news for today. If I missed anything, hit me up in the comments. I'll get back to you. If you want to say some random stuff, go ahead. I will probably respond to that as well. If you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more, I make them every weekend. Typically they come out on Sunday, so subscribe. Sometimes I make random videos throughout the week, so if you want to be notified, hit that notification bell. And anyways, have a great day.